All right, let's go down and take a ground eye view from Laura Anthony, who is there on the scene for us again. Laura, you're seeing some of the damage now. I haven't seen or heard about anyone being hurt. Is that what you're gathering as well?
Well, right, Dan, and they just got the word here that this event has been canceled, so that's one thing. This is the front of the student union here. You can see there are some broken windows. This is a barricade that they threw right through one of the windows. Wow. At this point, police are giving the order to disperse. And Randy, if you look this way to your right, you can see the crowd is starting to heed that warning, and they are running. So we are going to head that way as well. But the police are still up on the balcony. They just gave an order to disperse. And as you can see, some of the crowd have decided to go ahead and heed that warning. We can also show you here this generator, this light that was here for the event, was knocked over to the left here, Randy. That was here for this event.
Yeah, we saw
and
them
again,
actually.
We are just underneath the balcony.
Laura,
we're just underneath the balcony at this point.
All right. Laura, we understand that all buildings on campus are now locked down. Can't go into any of those buildings, so they are all locked down as a safety precaution. And we just apologize again. I know every now and then we'll see a shot with a sign that's has some foul language, profanity on it. We apologize. We're doing our best we can to edit that live, but people are waving signs, so we're trying to keep that off TV. You get the idea. But anyway, if that happens, accept our apologies.
It seems like a large amount of the crowd seems fairly calm, just there with their signs, but then there was that handful, that group, Laura, that came around, I don't know, 5:45?
Right. I mean, just before 6 o'clock, these things changed dramatically. The crowd grew tremendously, and the whole different group of people moved in here again with the masks and things. You can see they've now set that generator, that light stand on fire. Right above that, the police are still standing on the balcony. They have what appear to be, I guess, tear gas guns in their hands, and they're kind of keeping an eye on the crowd. Occasionally you'll see them point to an individual, and so far at least they haven't fired anything, at least in the last few minutes, but people are starting to move back, and we're going to step back from the fire.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, the event is off. Milo Yiannopoulos will not be speaking there tonight. He's a controversial figure and with extreme views, and this crowd came out to let those who had organized this event and were attending the event that they didn't want to hear from him and didn't think he should have the right to speak on campus. And they have managed, as has happened a couple of times now, once at Cal Poly, once at UC Davis a couple of weeks ago, managed to stop the event from taking place.
That's right. And again, we're hearing all the buildings there are on lockdown now. And we do remind you, as you mentioned, Deanna, there are some signs we realize we are trying to not show you that have profanity on them. And you may also hear some as people chant. This is live TV. We're doing our best to stay away from that so that you don't hear that or see that. But this is live.
Yeah. All right. And a very intense situation, as you can see. There are, as you see, this ring of protesters. Wayne estimates a couple of thousand, and that's probably about right, protesters out there. Clearly, many hundreds of people have come out, and they are still there. Look at the barricades that had been placed around the student union in preparation for this event. That was no match for these demonstrators who decided to tear those down, tear them apart, and then shove some of them through the glass at Sproul Hall at the student union. And there's more fireworks there on the right side of your screen. A few minutes ago, we saw several, looked like bottle rockets almost, to something being fired at the police on the roof of the building there at the student union, right next to where this fire is burning. They're literally going right at their faces and blowing up. They were wearing riot gear, at least. Yeah, and so there were a handful of police on the corner where some of those fireworks were going off. And we saw earlier some of those protesters messing with that light, trying to take it down, bring it down. And there's a large group of people who are just staying back. But then we saw that group with the masks on. They had their own, shields that they made, for lack of a better term. A huge crowd there now. And while we certainly don't know, and we'll try to find out, some of those protesters, the ones that showed up with the masks and the shields, may do this in other locations. They may be what you call professional protesters who do this a lot. not actually students at UC Berkeley. They move around from one event to the next in many instances. We don't know that that's who they were, but certainly that would be a suspicion.
Yeah, and Bancroft Way is shut down in the area. Protesters had lit some pallets on fire near Dana Street. When we looked from Sky 7, we could see police cars in the streets. Other cars, people who were just trying to get through, just stopped because they have shut down some of those streets as this protest continues. It got a little rowdy around 5:45 when that other group showed up to be part of this protest to try to stop Milo Yiannopoulos from speaking, which in fact they have done. The speech that was scheduled there at UC Berkeley tonight is now canceled. You can hear cheering from the crowd as this light fixture now just goes up in flames.
Wow.
Look at those flames now. And the smoke that's being put off. Our Laura Anthony has been on the ground. She was on the steps of the student union there. She was Sproul Plaza when everything got intense. People started moving back when police started to use the tear gas, but they didn't leave. They stayed, and they're staying. And we have heard that it's canceled and that they have tried to let the crowd know that it's canceled, but it's hard to know how many people have actually gotten out.
Well, as Wayne told us from the balcony there, right above the flames, an officer appeared with a megaphone to try to tell the crowd to move on and that the event was canceled. But over the din of protesters and chants and all of the noise, he said it was very hard to hear them. Of course, with social media and everything else, everybody's got a phone down there. They now surely all know that the event has been canceled. But in the immediate moments after it being canceled, I don't think they got the word right away. Boy, look at this light generator go just up in flames, utterly destroyed.
Yeah, and Wayne Friedman is there. And Wayne, we have a little message from the Berkeley Police Department where they're saying an estimated crowd of 200 to 300 people, but obviously that may be more by now. You say it's a lot of people out there. We're hearing 500
It's a lot more
now.
than 200 to 300 people. It's a lot more than 200 to 300 people.
Clearly.
It's more like 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Try to get Wayne back, but yeah, from the Berkeley Police Department, they're saying in the area of Bancroft and Telegraph, they're hearing of reports of vandalism, fires being set. We are seeing that fire, that light pole. Oh, Wayne,
There's nothing we can do with our signal.
Wayne, we're hearing you now.
This is phone signal.
Wayne, we're hearing you.
Okay, good, excellent. I'm glad you're hearing me. The crowd has been a little bit at this point. That light standard is still burning. People are moving. Excuse me, I just got a whiff of tear gas in my throat. There you go. They are moving people back some more. They've opened the blinds inside the building to show that on the second level that there's no one there. There are police officers on that balcony. And now I know why everyone else is moving back, because the tear gas is back out. And, well, what's happening now? Here we go. Someone has moved in closer.
Somebody's taking a selfie with the
Yeah, or doing a Facebook Live or something. Who knows?
Well,
Wayne,
stay with us. Don't go to Facebook Live in this case.
Yeah.
Wayne, you said that
They're now moving back in.
The protests are moving back in.
They opened the blinds.
Is that? Did you see anyone
the
leaving the building, like the students that were there to attend the event? Have they all left now? Do you know?
Dan, I don't think I ever saw anybody go into the building.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't think they ever had a chance to go into the building. Part of this, if anyone had climbed those stairs to go into this building in front of this crowd, they would have been shouted down, and it would have been a ruckus, unlike anything we've ever seen. Now the crowd has come back in around that burning light. There you go again. That's another one of those loud booms. And yet that's nothing compared with what we've heard earlier. That's maybe half as loud as the loudest boom that we've heard.
Wow,
back up on the balcony, you see the Berkeley police officers looking down. They don't seem to be shooting any more tear gas. There's a band playing. There are people waving flags. There are people dancing. There's one person here with a tuba, and he's playing, and no one can hear him. And would you like to hear some reactions from students down here on the ground? Maybe that would be of interest.
The signal right there. So we have Lillian Kim now on the phone with us. Lillian, where are you and what are you seeing?
I'm in Sproul Plaza. I'm closer to Southergate than I am to Bancroft, and I'm in the middle of a sea of protesters here who have no intention of leaving.
Lillian, I think we just lost you. We'll give you a pause for a moment. And all right.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Go ahead. Try again, please.
I just got connected to my photographer. He just came out of the thick of it. He was saying that he saw a lot of activities. There was a generator outside the building that he saw protesters damaging and setting on fire. And right now there was some applause, but I don't know what they're clapping for. But I think I hear an officer giving out dispersal orders, and now people are booing. But I can't. What is he saying? Oh, this is not. He's saying the officer is saying this is an unlawful assembly and that people need to leave. But people don't seem to be leaving despite the fire that's going on and despite the tear gas that was dispersed earlier.
All right, Lillian, thanks very much. Stand by. We'll come back to you and all our other reporters there. A couple of things to recap here. The speech tonight by a controversial figure, Milo Yiannopoulos, who is the 32-year-old journalist and senior editor for the conservative news and opinion website Breitbart, was scheduled to speak. Protesters showed up en masse, at least a couple thousand of them probably. It turned kind of nasty and a little bit violent and threatening, so UC Berkeley authorities canceled the event tonight. But as you can see, and that was 15, 20 minutes ago they canceled the event. The protesters, as Lillian said, are not leaving. They're still hanging out despite orders to disperse.
And we've seen them set pallets on fire. You see that fire there. Police are reporting that people are throwing things like bricks, smoking objects, obviously fireworks that we saw. And people do need to steer clear of this area, the area around Bancroft Way, Shattuck Avenue, College Avenue, and Dwight Way. Need to steer clear as this protest continues. All
right. Our Laura Anthony is on the scene again and has some new information for us. Laura?
Yes. Hi, Dan. You can see where we are here. Wow. I think we're right in front of the fire here. This generator still burning behind me. The crowd has moved in closer here again. There were some cheers, a sort of an atmosphere of victory, I guess, here, because they feel like they've won the battle to have this event canceled, at least for tonight. Again, this was a generator, a light stand that was here, presumably to provide light and safety for the expected demonstrations. That has clearly been destroyed. There are still police officers up on the balcony. They have given a dispersal order here, but at this point, these folks, as you can see, have no apparent intention of going away. So again, there's music playing. I think you can probably hear at this point, and there's a bit of a celebration going on.
Laura, is that a live band performing in the middle of this? Is that what's happening, or is it somebody's boombox?
I think it's a sound system of some sort. I do not see a band.
This is war. That's what the sign says, and they certainly conducted it as if it was tonight. A very militant protest on the campus of UC Berkeley. Some damage done to the building, and the speech canceled.
Yeah, we saw barricades through glass doors and windows, and this is a good time to remind you, this is live. We are trying not to show you any of the signs that have profanity or anything like that, but people may be shouting it as well, so that may come through our airwaves. We do apologize for that. We are doing our best to not bring that to you.
We refuse to accept a fascist America, that sign says. You can see some of the signs that we can show you that don't have profanity on them. We try to spare you that. But you see, we've been talking about a lot of the protesters who showed up at the last 15 minutes or so before 6 o'clock, who showed up in masks, and you still see some wearing masks and bandanas, obviously protecting their identity.